Hello, everyone. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to our virtual parent night. First of all, I want to let you know that you will be hearing from Mr. Grady Locker from the HFI Team Leader Group. You'll be hearing from me as the principal of Oxford High School, Heath Harmon. You will be hearing from Mr. Adam Clark, who is our Instructional Technology Specialist. And you will be hearing from Ms. Julia Hill, who is our Global Honors Academy IB Coordinator. First of all, I want to let you know that you will be hearing about attendance, proficiency scales, scoring and grading, and our Global Honors Academy, which is the way you move through the DE dual enrollment, AP advanced placement, and IB international baccalaureate pathways. First of all, I want to let you know that the research shows that there are specific conditions known to be associated with successful schools and continuous school improvement. These specific conditions are a safe, supportive, and collaborative culture, effective teaching in every classroom, a guaranteed and viable curriculum, standards reference reporting, and competency-based education. What does this mean? It means that at Oxford High School, we focus on the right work and measure its effectiveness. We celebrate when the data shows that our work is effective. And if the data is showing that our work is not effective, we make immediate adjustments. If you look at these 5 conditions known to be associated with successful schools and look at the red arrow, this is showing you safe, supportive, and collaborative culture. I'll take a couple of minutes tonight to focus in on this condition. There are 8 indicators, leading indicators for a safe, supportive, and collaborative culture. So if you look at this, I'm going to take some time to pause this video and read these. But if you'll focus in on 1.2, it says students, parents, and the community perceive the school environment as safe, supportive, and orderly. And if you look at 1.6, it says students, parents, and the community have formal ways to provide input regarding the optimal functioning of the school. So I want to kind of pull those 2 out and talk to you about those because it's important for us that we understand from our students, parents, and the community what their perception is of the school environment, and also if they have formal ways to provide input regarding the optimal functioning of the school. So how do we do this? Well, we do this through surveys. So you will be hearing us talk about Cognia surveys and also HRS surveys. And so we will be sending information to you via our communication system through text messaging. And we do have some HRS surveys upcoming that will be related to us gathering data. And so we would really appreciate when you get that information if you'll take the time to complete those surveys, because that is very helpful for us as far as gathering that data to make sure that we are progressing along the continuum of being a highly reliable school. At this time, we're going to get some information from Mr. Locker concerning attendance.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for attending. My name is Grady Locker, and I'm the Helping Families Initiative case officer or team leader with the Cowden and Cleveland County District Attorney's Office. Helping Families Initiative, or HFI, is a partnership between the District Attorney's Office here in Cowden County and with United Way of East Central Alabama, as well as several school systems in our communities, including Oxford City Schools. I want to tell you a little bit about what HFI is, or the Helping Families Initiative, first, before we get into looking at school attendance policies. Helping Families Initiative is a statewide program created to help kind of enforce Alabama's compulsory school law. We do that, but we also do some other things. In fact, enforcing Alabama's compulsory school law is really kind of our minor goal, is really to tell families, and I'll explain a little bit more of that as we go on today. Local district attorney's office voluntarily can choose to participate with HFI. At the beginning of this school year, almost half of all Alabama's judicial circuits do have an HFI program. In our area, almost all the school systems in Calhoun and Cleveland counties participate in HFI. First of all, let me tell you a little bit about, I mentioned Alabama's compulsory school law, which is Section 1628.12 of the Alabama State Code, which says it's a misdemeanor to not require your child to go to school. Obviously, or as known as truancy, that's something we want to work on, and HFI's goal is to work on that specifically. School systems are required in Alabama to alert the judicial system, or more specifically the district attorney's office, when they see an issue of truancy, when a parent is not in compliance with the school law. HFI works by doing several things. One, we alert families when we see issues of truancy or just attendance issues in general. And we also work to help families find resources. And I'll talk a little bit more of this at the end, but one of the major issues that impacts families who are dealing with attendance issues is often things that they need help with. And these are things that HFI can help families find. I'm going to talk real quickly about just issues about missing school. Some of these seem fairly obvious, but I want to point them out. First of all, I want you to know that there's two different terms that are very important. Truancy is when a student has 7 or more unexcused absences from school during a school year. Truancy can result in prosecution. In fact, in Alabama, it's supposed to result in prosecution, which is something we don't want to see happen. Chronic absenteeism, as attorney may have heard as well. Chronic absenteeism is when a student misses 18 or more days in a school year, and this can be regardless of reason. In other words, they can actually be all excused. Missing 18 or more days in a school year is a problem for various reasons, but obviously just academic problems are considerable when a student misses that many days. I don't know if you know this, but studies show in the United States that students who miss more than 9 days who don't miss more than 9 days of school in a school year tend to be more engaged, they tend to be more successful, and they are almost always more on track for graduation. Absences, as you're probably aware, can be a sign that not only is the student maybe sick, but could also be that they're struggling with school, or they have issues at school, maybe there's problems that they're dealing with at home or in the school that need to be addressed. I have the slide for you to see, but I'm not going to go over this. If you want to pause and look back at it, feel free to do that. By 9th grade, regular school attendance in elementary school is a much better predictor of graduation rates than test scores, which I think is very significant. A lot of times we do focus so much on test scores that sometimes we're not paying attention to how impactful just missing school is. Students can be chronically absent even if they're only missing a day or two every few weeks. Attendance is an important life skill. In fact, one of the reasons that HFI is concerned about attendance, why the judicial system is concerned about attendance, and why the schools are, is because it's a life skill. And it's a skill that will go with students far after. Employers all across this region will tell you that attendance is a problem, and they need employees that will come to school regularly. So students who learn that as students are going to be more successful in the workplace. I want to see this real quick. I go talk chronic absenteeism. Just missing a couple days a month, literally twice a month, that student is chronically absent. And just looking at a calendar, it doesn't look like the students miss very often, but that quickly adds up. We'll talk specifically about attendance policy, but first we're going to talk about Oxford City Schools attendance policies, but I'll also talk about how that intertwines with Alabama state law. In Oxford City, every student who misses school must turn in an excuse, either a handwritten excuse from the parent or a doctor's or legal excuse. It must be turned in within 3 days of the absence. That specifically is Alabama law. That is not just Oxford City Schools saying you have to have an excuse in within 3 days. That's the law in Alabama. No matter what school students attend in Alabama, the excuse must be turned in within 3 days. If the school doesn't get that within 3 days, they have to code it unexcused. And as we saw earlier, 7 unexcused absences in a school year can equal truancy. So we don't want to see any absences not get coded correctly. I do want to point out that any absence from school, even if it's a check-in or check-out, must be excused. So if your child checks in, or if your child checks out, go ahead and get an excuse in. This is not here, and I do want to mention this. The central office of Oxford City Schools told me that, and this is something that's really useful, if you're not sure you can get your excuse to the school, or if you're not sure your student will turn it in, which is a very big problem, you can email an excuse, but the email excuse must be a handwritten one. So in other words, go ahead, handwrite an excuse, make sure it's got your signature on it, make sure it's got the student's full name, date, the reason for the absence, just like any excuse. Take a picture of it, and you can email it to the school's attendance clerk, Ms. Monette Williams. This is new information, so we'll make sure you know this. Oxford City Schools attendance policy, they have slight changes here, and that is parents can only write 5 written excuses per semester. So from August until January, or from August till December, and from January until May, you have 5 written excuses both semesters. Any absences beyond those must be excused by a doctor. Do make sure you know that the ability to write excuses does turn over each semester, but any unexcused absences obtained during the school year remain the whole school year. Anytime a child, I mentioned this already, but anytime a child's out of school, either this to check in or check out, you must write an excuse. I already mentioned this, but once again, if a parent fails to send their school if a parent doesn't send their child to school regularly, that can result in prosecution. So, once again, no one wants you to be prosecuted. No one wants a child to be involved in the juvenile court system. So, how are parents alerted to attendance issues? First of all, if your child has an unexcused absence, either by the first or second unexcused absence, the school will send you a letter to let you know this. Right? So it'll be a reminder of making sure you get excuses turned in. After 3 or 4 unexcused absences, HFI, more specifically, I will be alerting families. I will alert you either by a letter, email, phone call. I will make sure we get through to you to make sure you're aware that your child has 3 or 4 unexcused absences. So far this school year, we're only in October, but we've already made over 130 contacts to families just at Oxford High School. So we do take it seriously. We want to make sure families are alerted to unexcused absences. The reason we do this by the 4th unexcused absence is because at 5 unexcused absences, families are required to attend what's called early warning court. Early warning court, what it sounds like, it is a warning before a truancy issue is developed. So let families be reminded of our attendance law, policies, and to make sure excuses do get turned in appropriately. If your child is over 12, and of course this is a high school presentation, so that shouldn't be everybody. If you have to go to early warning court, your child has to attend with you. If your child gets to 7, as I mentioned at the beginning, that is a truancy. In Alabama, school systems are mandated by law to file charges against parents for truancy, and it could be the student as well. Students over 12 can be referred to the court for supervision by the juvenile probation office. So once again, we do not want any family to deal with a truancy charge. We don't want any family prosecuted. So HFI's major goal is to try to figure out why these attendance issues are happening and to work with the family to come up with ways to deal with that. Oftentimes we see that the reasons that there's so many absences are there are needs not being met. HFI's partnership with United Way helps us find help for families. It can be anything. If maybe there's a need not being met, like basic needs, maybe there's mental health issues, drug use, whatever the need is, HFI can try to help a family find resources to deal with that problem. So That's our goal. We don't want to see families go to court for issues regarding truancy, and if we come with ways to deal with that, that's what we want to do. Finally, if you ever have any questions about attendance, have any need for help, any need for guidance towards resources, you can contact me. Once again, my name is Grady Locker. I am the HFI, or Helping Families Initiative Team Leader with the Calhoun-Cleveland County District Attorney's Office. My telephone number is 256-342-1867. I failed to put my email address up there. My email is grady@hfialabama.com. Once again, that's grady@hfialabama.com. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for joining us on this virtual parent presentation. My name is Adam Clark. I'm the Instructional Technology Specialist here at Oxford High School, and I want to take a few minutes to show you and tell you a little bit about proficiency scales. You've seen your students probably bring these home, or you've heard people talk about them, but maybe you're not quite sure what they are. I'm not going to go very much in depth as far in great detail about the proficiency scales, but I'm going to show you how to access them and understand them a little bit. And we have a video series out that Mr. Harmon has a reference about standards-based learning that will give you greater detail on how they're used in assessment and grading and things such as that. So these scales here, like the one you're currently looking at, are visible in multiple places. You can access these on the Oxford High School website and from the Oxford City Schools District website, probably the easiest way to get to them. And they're also available in your students' Schoology courses, which you now have access to. When progress reports came home for the first 9 weeks, your students brought home another handout that has your parent login information for both PowerSchool and Schoology. So you'll be able to see those here. So here is the proficiency scale for a 10th grade U.S. history course on the topic of describing the political system in the United States based on the Constitution. So you see the levels 1 through 4. And we really hone in on the level 2 and the level 3 area in the scale. That is where the foundation of the learning takes place. And you can see that there are 2 bullet points in score 2. We refer to each of those bullets as learning targets. So we say we have 2 score 2 learning targets. And you also will see there are 2 bullets in the level 3. That means we have 2 score 3 targets. So students will in class provide evidence and demonstrate learning on each of those targets as they progress through a measurement topic, which is what another name for a proficiency scale would be, a measurement topic. And the teacher will then score them based on those targets with a collection of evidence. They may do what we would be accustomed to seeing as 2 to 3 assignments or demonstrations of learning for each target, and the teacher will collect that evidence and use that to score them on those things. So if you see something in your child's Schoology or in their PowerSchool where it says they've gotten a 2, do not be alarmed. If you look and that's on a score 2 learning target, then that's appropriate. That's what you would want to see there. But you can go in and see and likewise on a score 3 topic there. So you can watch those videos that Mr. Harmon referenced on standards-based learning. We have several videos on scales and assessment and how they are related. But where can you find these to just see what's going on there? So you can find them first on the Oxford City Schools website. If you go to the Oxford City Schools website and look in the top left-hand corner, you will see a resources button. If you click that resources button, you will then see an option for proficiency scales. You click the proficiency scale option. Then off to the left, you'll see menus. You'll find the high school menu, and you'll look for the subject. So in this case, let's say we're looking for social studies. We'll click social studies, and then all grade levels are listed there. And all the social studies courses that are offered here at Oxford High School. And then you will see the list of scales, and you will click on that, and then the scale like you just saw will appear. Okay, so just like this. Now another thing that is attached with these scales that will be very beneficial once you get a progress report or you log into PowerSchool and see where your child is on a measurement topic is the resources links. So maybe you find out that your student in this particular measurement topic maybe has pretty good success at identifying the inadequacies of the Articles of Confederation and describing the Constitutional Convention, but they do struggle with distinguishing the ideologies and compromises of the Constitutional Convention. The beautiful thing about standards-based learning and proficiency scales is that you will now be able to, using this type of grading and reporting, you'll be able to pinpoint where your child needs to focus their attention, where their weaker areas are on a topic, as opposed to just saying, well, I got a D on that test, I don't really know what I need to work on. This allows you to know exactly what your child needs to work on. So you can click and how you can help them do that. And you can click on the resources link there, and you'll see a resources page. This is an example of a resource page here. So here are different bits of information. This one seems to be a 9th grade history one on the Renaissance and Reformation. You have reading passages. You have videos maybe from YouTube or Khan Academy. They have things to help them with difficult text. They have guiding questions that would help them as they're reading. Maybe they don't know don't know how to attack this piece of content. Okay, here's some questions that if you can read and answer those, you've kind of got the basic learning that you need to get to from that. So all sorts of resources there to help you, and then in different varieties. Some maybe slideshows, additional bits of information, and things like that. All right. Also mentioned your child's Schoology course. So you will also have a parent log into your child's Schoology course, and each of those proficiency scales will be visible in measurement topic folders in the Schoology course, so that you can see the learning and the content that is directly connected to them. And depending on the nature of the course, some courses lend themselves to doing assignments and activities through Schoology pretty regularly. Some, it's sort of a mixture. It's half and half. A lot of things are done on paper, pencil, in a more traditional sense in the class, and then some things done on Schoology. And then some classes, it's all paper, pencil. There's nothing submitted through Schoology. A lot of science classes and math classes tend to do that. So you might see any manner of activities in there, but there will be evidence of the scale and the things connected to the scale in those Schoology courses, and you'll be able to see how that is connected. Okay, so now how do we connect all that to know how our students are doing? How are they progressing through their courses? So you also, on the sheet that came out with the progress report that you just received, is your parent PowerSchool login. So again, from oxfordcityschools.com, you will click on the PowerSchool button. There's the Schoology to allow you to access the Schoology, but we're going to click on the PowerSchool button. And if it is your first time doing this, you will need to do the create account option, fill out the information. It will ask you for the student ID information that is on the sheet that you received, and you'll just input that. That's telling PowerSchool that you are the parent of this particular student. And then once you register that account, you'll then come back in and log in with the information you created. So then once you have logged in, also, before we move on, you will see that students have their own student sign-in where they can see this as well. All right. So a couple of things to look at. In this particular case, you log in, you see the child's schedule. Okay. And there is a set, and this allows you to see attendance information and things such as that. Have they been absent or tardy in any of the classes? You'll see a standards grades tab. And in that standards grade tab, this is the window you'll see where you'll see all the standards or measurement topics, which are directly linked to proficiency scales. So those are 3 terms that are all mean the same thing in PowerSchool, like standards, proficiency scales, and measurement topics. They all are going to have the same name when it comes to PowerSchool. So for example, here, the standard says OCS 12 Government 1. That is the first standard in 12th grade government. And it says explain the events that shape the U.S. government. That is the name of the proficiency scale, which is also the name of the measurement topic there. So you can see this student has a 3 on that scale, and on this one they are an incomplete, meaning they probably have not submitted enough evidence to receive a score on that. And so that overall brings their grade for the course at this time to a 1.5. So that is just where they are at that moment. Students have the opportunity to reassess and resubmit those things throughout the course of the school year or semester. Now, you want to see the individual things. Well, what makes up the 3? How did the student perform on this particular measurement topic? If you click the I that shows up right here, beside the particular class, you will see the assignments that are related. So here you see the measurement topic that assignment is correlated to. Again, these are not specific assignments. These are related to those learning targets, the bullet points on the proficiency scale that I mentioned to you earlier. If you want to see the individual assignments students did, you would have to reach out to that individual teacher or check the Schoology page. But here, explain the events that shaped the U.S. You can see the Score 2 targets. In this case, there were 3. There were 3 Score 3 targets. There was a common assessment that was given. And then we have what the overall score was. So this overall score of 3 is made up of all of the scores here. So it's not averaged. It's not doing anything like that. We're looking at, okay, there are 2s. In the Score 2s, there was a 1 Score 1 on a Score 2, and we never quite got to a 3 in the Score 3 with this particular student, but the student did eventually show growth here to a 4 on the Common Formative Assessment, which then gave them an overall 3. So in order to be a 4, you really have to have mastered everything all the way through when it comes to those sort of things. And again, it varies on the type of assessment and how many pieces of evidence were given on each particular target. So the teacher does have different ways they're delivering that content as it relates to the learning targets. But that is how you can see that and read that. So the scoring and grading, Mr. Harmon will continue to address with that. But if you have any questions related to the idea of proficiency scales, please do not hesitate to fill out that form that we will show you at the end of this session, and we will be happy to get you more information about that.
Hi, thanks for joining us this evening. And we are doing a re-recording of our parent night. So this is the section that I presented to you. I am Julia Hill. I'm the IB coordinator, and I'm going to talk to you tonight about the Global Honors Academy pathways. There are actually 3 different pathways that are going to be under the Global Honors Academy umbrella. And this Global Honors Academy is not to take away from any of the other academies. So there's still going to be the Healthcare Academy. There's still going to be the Teacher Academy, Foreign Language, Engineering, you name it, whatever your student is involved in. But what the Global Honors Academy umbrella does, it is where we're going to house all of our honors endorsement programs. So if you have any questions about those, my email address is listed here as well, and I'll show it to you again at the end of the presentation. So like I said, there are 3 different pathways. And one of the cool things that Oxford is doing right now, I know in Mr. Harmon's portion, he mentioned a Cognia accreditation and the High Reliability Schools accreditation. And we are currently going through IB accreditation. So all 3 of those really work together. They're a nice marriage between all 3 programs, and they are all based on best practices. And what those do are they're allowing us to offer the best academic advancement opportunities to your students here at Oxford High School. So 2 of the programs you may be more familiar with. The first one is dual enrollment, or DE, and those are semester-long courses, and they are actually college courses. So they might be here on campus, but the instructors that are here on campus are either employees of Gadsden State University, our community college, or Jacksonville State University, and they are teaching college classes here on our OHS campus. Or you can also do dual enrollment through online courses through the University of Alabama Honors College, through Jacksonville State University, or through Gadsden State Community College. You can also take classes on those campuses as well, but your student would get a high school credit, and then depending on their grade that they earn in that semester, they would get a college credit as well. So they're dually enrolled. Okay, the second one you may be more familiar with, it's been around a long time, is Advanced Placement. And these courses are a year-long course taught on campus by teachers who have gone through training in advanced placement courses. And the students get a grade at the end of the school year. And then they also take one test at the end of the school year. And depending on their score on that one test, then they can receive college credit depending on the test score and on what university or college that they're planning to attend. The one you may not be as familiar with is IB. It stands for International Baccalaureate. And these courses are not a semester long or a year long. They're actually concurrent learning over a 2-year period. So the student has the same teacher, the same course for a 2-year period. They go very deep into the content. And there are multiple entry points for assessments. So some assessments are internal and some assessments are external assessments that are scored by by International Baccalaureate readers. And again, depending on those scores, your student gets the opportunity to earn college credit based on those scores, as well as getting their high school credit at the same time. So what is International Baccalaureate? As I said, it's the new kid on the block as far as our honors endorsements here at Oxford High School. And we are in the candidacy stage of our accreditation to be an IB World School. So the mission statement of the International Baccalaureate program is to develop inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young people who help create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. So this is approaching education opportunities through a global lens. Okay. It is internationally recognized. It's highly structured with 6 subject groups. And then there is a push through the IB program to address the needs of the whole learner in the approaches to teaching and the approaches to learning, and addressing their international mindedness, as well as what they are doing creatively, what they're doing active, and what they're doing as far as service hours to the community. There's also a really cool course that they have to take called Theory of Knowledge, which really addresses metacognition and why we learn what we learn and how do we use what we've learned, not only academically, but to make the world a better place. And they have an opportunity to write an extended essay through this internationally recognized program. So there are learner attributes. There's a learner profile that addresses the students who are growing these skills as learners to become lifelong learners, and also who learn these attributes in order to succeed. And I'm not going to read through every one of these. They're here on your screen, and you can take a pause if you want to and read through those at your leisure. So as far as International Baccalaureate, we are just now, again, going through the accreditation program, along with that CogNIA accreditation and the High Reliability Schools accreditation. Those 3 are sort of married together right now as we're working on all 3 at once. But as far as the IB structured courses, if your student is in the class of 2025, they may already be piloting some of our IB classes for us now and have the opportunity to sit for some of those exams next year. If your student is class of 2026, a sophomore this year, then they can start taking the IB classes next year, their junior and senior year, their 2-year classes. Class of 2027 is going to be our first group that can go through with the full IB diploma in place, and that's this year's freshmen. And they also had the opportunity or have the opportunity to take 2 new AP courses in preparation for any one of those pathways, AP, DE, or IB. And this is our first year that we offered AP Human Geography as a history class for 9th graders, and we are offering AP Seminar as a 10th grade English class as sort of a springboard into those higher level courses. So the class of 2027 and the class of 2028, those students are going to be the ones that are able to go through the full diploma program for International Baccalaureate if they choose to. So the next few slides are pictures of some of our faculty that have gone through the training for International Baccalaureate, and they will be helping us with this program. And you may recognize some of them as AP teachers as well. So all three, again, they work together, the AP, the DE, and the IB. These are our curriculum English, math, science, history teachers, as well as that theory of knowledge class that I mentioned earlier, that's metacognition and how we're learning to be lifelong learners and to use what we've learned in the real world. And then we have our administration team, which includes Amy Reeves, who is going to head up the CAS program, which is that creativity, activity, and service opportunities. We have Katie Norton, who is our IB counselor. And then we also have Natalie Wilson, who is going to be the advisor for the extended essay component. So what happens next? Well, just stay tuned for more information. We're working on a brochure that outlines everything. We also are going to be visiting your students' classrooms before academic advisement in the spring. I just don't want academic advisement in the spring to be the first time you've heard about the Global Honors Academy, that umbrella, or the three components for honors courses that fall underneath that, the dual enrollment, the advanced placement, or the IB program. Before spring, or if at any point you have any specific questions, please feel free to reach out to me, Julia Hill, and my email address is listed there on the slide. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.